In today's video, we're going to talk about Panasonic Leica lenses for micro four thirds. I'll be shooting the entire talk to camera piece here with the G9 Mark II, but whether you've got a GH6, a GH7, or any other number of micro four thirds cameras, you might find this helpful. I'm going to talk about the three primary ones that I use and a few others that I've tested that I absolutely love that I currently don't own. Now, I've owned quite a lot of lenses over the last sort of 7 years or so, and this will all come from hands-on experience with each of them. And I'm going to show you plenty of samples and we'll test out different lenses throughout this video as well. So I hope you enjoy it. If you can, leave a thumbs up and let us know what your favorite micro four thirds lenses are, or Panasonic Leica lenses in particular. Let's get into it. Let's kick things off by talking about this 9mm f1.7 Panasonic Leica lens. This has surprised me to no end, and I love how physically small it is. It's light. And if you're looking for that super wide 18mm field of view equivalent, it's excellent. It's a fast f1.7 and it gives you a really premium look. And this is something that I've come to appreciate with these Leica lenses. There is something going on with the overall look when you compare it up against the same field of view from one of the standard lenses in the series, for example. I feel this gives you an excellent look. This 9mm on micro four thirds is the perfect vlogging lens. If you're going to be doing any type of handheld vlogging at an event or just out and about, it's awesome. It gives you enough blurry background, but without it being too blurry like you'd find if you were shooting, say, f1.8 on full frame. So that's really cool. Being that it's as fast as it is as well, it's also great for low light work, and it's also excellent when it comes to wide angle photography. So if you're into that, this would be the first lens on my list. I don't ever plan on getting rid of this because it's small, light, and fun, which is what I think micro four thirds is all about. The 9mm f1.7 has no bells and whistles in terms of features. It's just simply a focus ring. So unlike, say, the 15mm f1.7, which has an autofocus manual focus switch and also an aperture ring, you don't get any of that on here. But I actually really love the design of this body. I hope Panasonic release, say, the 20mm f1.7 again in this kind of body with these kind of autofocus motors. I think it would be an absolute no-brainer. Now you're looking at the 9mm f1.7 on the G9 Mark II, you can see just how crazy wide this field of view is. I can get all the way into about here, which is like that far away from the lens, which is insane. So it does a really great job at just giving you a really premium look. And the interesting thing is, even though this is micro four thirds, you can still create some shallow depth of field as long as you're within a sort of arm's reach of the lens. Once you step back a bit further, the background blur obviously will drop off a lot faster than it will on full frame, but you can still create some really nice shallow depth of field. The minimum focus is awesome. It just does a really great job. Let us know what you think. The second lens on this list might be my current favorite all-rounder, and this is the 12 to 35mm f2.8 Leica. Now, version 3 is the Leica version. Version 2 is what I'm shooting with right now, and there's also an original version which has some different sort of colors on the actual barrel of the lens, but they're all great. But this one gives you a better minimum focusing distance. It also handles flaring a lot better as well, which is one of the criticisms people have of this particular lens that I'm shooting this shot with. But overall, it's still a really premium look, and it definitely has something going on with the contrast. Physically, this is basically identical to the prior version 2, except that it's slightly lighter as well, which is really nice. We get the Power OIS over here, which is optical image stabilization, and the focal range, being that it's 12mm, gives us that standard 24 to 70 equivalent. Now, I've used this at product shows, I've used it for plenty of thumbnails on the channel. I've also shot a lot of my talk to camera videos out in the park with this because it's so versatile and it saves me having to change lenses, you know, throughout the day. It's just a really practical lens, and I can highly recommend getting this. Maybe if you've already got version 2 and you're happy with it like I was, I wouldn't worry about it, but I wanted this because I was very impressed with the loaner unit, and I've come to appreciate this even more. So I ended up buying this recently because I liked it that much. So yeah, really versatile lens. It's weather sealed, all that kind of stuff. And if you're looking for a one and done travel lens, this would be top of the list. And now you're looking at the 12 to 35mm f2.8 Leica. I'll do a quick side-by-side comparison with the version 2 on screen so you can get a good sense of how they both compare. I've tried to frame this the same. There's no clouds today, so the sun is basically identical between both of these shots, so I hope you can see a bit of a difference. Let us know if you can in the comment section. While I love the look of the 12 to 35mm Leica lens, it's also giving us excellent autofocus performance with the new PDAF camera. So if you've got a phase detection micro four thirds camera, either from Panasonic or Olympus, it's going to give you excellent results for human subject detection. And I just love the look of this lens at 35mm. There's more than enough compression in the background to keep me happy, and as we all know, everybody likes a little tonne. The next lens on this list, oh, that's hot as far out. It's 30 degrees Celsius almost today. And that's well above 30 degrees Celsius. Anyway, we're taking a look at the 10 to 25 millimeter f1.7 Leica lens. Now, this is regarded as the most premium video focused lens you can get, along with the 25 to 50, which I don't own. I've tested that lens. It was beautiful, but I only have this 10 to 25, and this 10 to 25 is fantastic. The cons of this lens is I find it a little too big for travel purposes, which is where I would take the 12 to 35 millimeter f2.8, but this definitely gives you the most premium look you can get for micro four thirds, and 10 millimeters on the wide end is fantastic. It really does give you a sense of space as opposed to 12 millimeters. If Panasonic ever released the 12 to 35 millimeter, again, it's still too hot through the t-shirt, with sort of 10 millimeter on the wide end, I would absolutely buy that lens. I think that would be so good. Even at f2.8, there's something kind of special about 10 millimeters versus 12 millimeters, or 20 versus 24. There is a difference in that wide end, which is where this really shines. And you can go all the way into 25 millimeters, which is perfect. If you've got one of those sort of cheap 25 millimeter f1.7 prime lenses, you're going to get an even more premium look out of this at the same focal length. It's a pretty special lens. Here's the 10 to 25 up close. So the zoom ring feels amazing on this lens. As you can see, 10 to 25 on this side. And then we've got our aperture ring up here. Now this isn't clicked, which can be a deal breaker for some people who shoot photos, but for video, you can get nice, smooth aperture changes just by using this, or you can set it to auto and control it via your camera. So that's cool. But we also get a manual focus clutch where the distance meter here is in both feet and meters, so you can find what works best for you. Now there's no hard stops on the end, but there's soft stops, so it sort of clicks when you get to the perceived minimum or maximum, but it will spin perpetually as well. But it really does feel great to use, and it's a very different lens to the rest of the ones in this lineup. And if you're looking for the best video performance lens for sort of indoor and outdoor stuff, if you want the best look, then this would be an absolute no-brainer. All right, I'm sweating bullets right now, but this is the 10 to 25 millimeter f1.7 at 1.7. And as you can see now, it's giving me a really premium look. The autofocus performance, again, with any of these modern lenses on the PDAF bodies, are going to perform great. And this is no exception. So I can go from 10 millimeters on the wide end and punch in all the way to 25. And again, the Leica look here definitely gives you a really premium image, whether we're shooting at 25 millimeters, somewhere in between, or all the way on the wide angle at 10 millimeters. If you're enjoying the video so far, please leave a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, click the bell, drop a comment, help me beat the algorithm. We're on the march to 50,000 subs, so if you want to jump on board, that'd be awesome. Thanks for your support. All right, let's cover some of the honorable mentions here, starting with the 15mm f1.7 Leica lens. Now, I've owned 3 of these over the years, and they're really impressive lenses. I think where they really shine is their compact size and weight. You get an aperture ring, you also get a manual focus, autofocus switch, and the overall shooting experience is great, with one exception. The autofocus, at least for video, doesn't seem as reliable as every other lens on this list, which is why I don't own one now. For doing this kind of stuff, I don't want it to be jittery or buggy, I just want it to work. And I don't know if it was a firmware thing at the time I got to test the G9 Mark II or GH7 with the 15mm f1.7 Leica, but the autofocus just wasn't as good as the rest of these lenses. But again, if you're behind the camera doing street photography, or you might be shooting, something at a gym, for example, indoors, you get a really premium look. And I've done both of those with that lens, and it's really cool. So yeah, I would still recommend it, but mostly for photography. If you're a video shooter, you can still get amazing results out of it, but I just don't trust it for video autofocus as much as the rest of these lenses. All right, up next, we're talking about the 25mm f1.4 Leica lens. Now, I remember binge watching so many videos about the difference between the inexpensive 25mm f1.7 Lumix lens versus the 25mm f1.4 Leica lens, and I ended up just going for a few of the smaller, less expensive f1.7s. But after testing the 25mm f1.4 on the GH7, I was absolutely stunned at the difference visually. Now, it might only be about a 10% difference, but it's enough of a difference for this guy's blind eyes to be able to see it on my computer on a 5K iMac. It just looked really impressive. I don't even think it's got anything to do with the faster aperture. It just has to do with the overall look and image quality. It does, again, something better with the contrast. The background blur is a little less busy as well, which is really cool. And that's maybe the biggest complaint with the f1.7. But the 25mm f1.4 Leica lens has great autofocus performance, whether you're using a GH7, a G9 Mark II, or whatever. You can make it work with these PDAF cameras. Even the Olympus camera should give you great autofocus with that lens, which is why it lands a place on this list. I still want to get one of those at some point in the future. I'm a big fan of those sort of compact, small travel primes for micro four thirds, kind of what makes the lens lineup fun in my experience. So if you have one of those, let us know what you think of it in the comment section. But again, if you're on a budget, the 25mm f1.7 standard lens is still really good, but we're talking about Leica lenses, so I have to put it on the list. The last lens I'm going to mention in this particular section before we talk about just two quick ones is the Panasonic Leica 42.5mm f1.4 Noctocron. Man, I got to test this out when I had the GH7 on loan from Panasonic back before release. And that combination looked impressive. It arguably looked better than any other combination of lens and camera body I've shot with. Doesn't matter if it's full frame, APS-C or whatever, that looked insanely good. And I can highly recommend that if you need a portrait lens or if you're doing a sit-down interview and you're looking for that tight headshot. It's unrivaled. The look of that lens is absolutely beautiful. It's got a few things going for it. Obviously the 85mm equivalent will give you a really great compression, but f1.4 really helps isolate the subject, and it was unmatched from any other lens I've got. While I own the 42.5mm f1.7 Panasonic lens, the Noctocron is in a whole other dimension. It has a real 3D pop from the background. It just gives you really great image quality, and if you're looking for the best of the best, I can highly recommend it. I'll link down to that video down in the description so you can check it out after this video. Now, if you're wondering where the 12 to 60mm f2.8 lens is, which is a variable aperture lens, f2.8 to f4, I haven't tested it enough to want to put it in this list. And being that it's a variable aperture, it's not something I would use a lot for video, but for travel purposes, it's killer. And I would have no problems using it outside because the reach is fantastic. But I just haven't had my hands on it enough to know. Let us know in the comment section whether or not you think it's worth adding that to my particular kit in 2025 or 2026 moving forward, because yeah, I've been thinking about it. You know, the benefit of micro four thirds in my experience now are the zoom lenses. You know, being able to get a 24 to 120mm lens that's like this big is killer. And for travel purposes, photography, I think the 12 to 60 would be a no-brainer. But for the kind of video stuff that I like shooting, I really love having the fixed aperture. It just gives you a really consistent look in any sort of shooting environment. But that's just me. Anyway, let us know what you think of this list. If you have anything to add, let us know in the comment section. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna get out of here. It's stinking hot.